afternoon and welcome to Final Score. Fewer Premier League games today, but no shortage of drama. With me in the studio, Steve Claridge, Garth Crooks and Les Ferdinand. Right, let's get straight to the action then. It's Arsenal against Wigan. Roger Johnson is watching this one at the Emirates.
It's Arsenal 3, Wigan 0. Arsenal banishing the disappointment of successive defeats in Manchester in emphatic fashion. The goals, two from Thomas Vermaelen, a powerful header and a luscious left footer into the top corner. The third, a fine finish from Eduardo. The home side have dominated almost completely. Songs hit a post and Eduardo's gone close just moments ago. While Wigan, backed by a smattering of travelling supporters, have tested Mannone just twice. He swatted away Boyce's first half header. Substitute Scotland's second half shot barely tested him. We've got 20 minutes to play. Arsenal leading Wigan by 3-0.
Let's find out if Portsmouth are close to getting their first point of the season. Ivan Gaskell's watching them at Aston Villa.
Not really. Portsmouth's poor start looks about to get worse, heading for a sixth straight league defeat since kick-off. Only themselves to blame, really. Belhadj naively bringing down Petrov in the first half. Milner penalty dispatched firmly in the corner. Agbon Lahore then punished further schoolboy defending. This half, Portsmouth, though, have forced half a dozen decent saves from Friedel. Portsmouth will be kicking themselves, really, if they don't get something out of it. If they don't, Paul Hart, their manager, will kick them for them.
Kicks everywhere at the Reebok this afternoon. It's what's known as a bruising encounter, isn't it, Andrew James?
It's triple X here, Mark, certainly, and Bolton heading for a third straight league defeat this season. A well-taken goal early in the second half from Dave Kitson separates the two sides after a dreadful first half in which two players were booked for simulation. Mark Clattenburg could have booked them all for impersonating top-quality footballers. It was that bad. Bolton have sent on Ivan Klasnic, their new Croatian, German-born Croatian signing up front alongside Ricardo Gardner, and they've looked a little better. But Stoke looking on course for their first win here in the top flight since 1963. Bolton 0, Stoke 1.
Hull have conceded more Premier League goals than any other team this season, so let's find out if Birmingham are taking advantage. Here's Damien Johnson.
Not yet. Hull City 0, Birmingham 0. Birmingham have by some distance been the better side. As Hull attack now, they have a chance, but it's headed clear by Stephen Carr. It's been a stellar performance from Hull keeper Boaz Myhill. He's kept the scores level. A fingertip effort to turn around Lee Bowyer's first half strike and a brave close-range block to keep out the same player. The pick of half a dozen great saves. The home side have threatened only sporadically. It's 0-0.
The lunchtime kick-off was at Turf Moor, where Steve Wilson watched Burnley defend their 100% home record against Sunderland. Just on that game, what a great start for a former Preston player now at Burnley, David Nugent.
I think he's going to be not just relieved, but I think he's going to have a good weekend. I mean, when you consider the time he had at Portsmouth, it was very, very hard. A lot of good players. When he was there, it was difficult for him. Burnley, the expectations not quite the same. He perhaps can relax a little bit, but with a job to prove. He's got a point to prove. He did it today. 2 very, very good goals. 3 points for Burnley. 5 games, 9 points. A great start.
This will probably hurt you, but it's been exactly the kind of game Arsenal would have wanted this afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. You know, especially after what happened last week and the game last week, and a lot of talk about it all week. They went away in the Champions League and didn't have the best of games, but got the result, and it was just important for them to stamp their authority back on the Premier League and go out and give a good performance, and they've done that today. Created a host of chances, 3-0 up at the moment, and it could be a lot more.
And Steve, Portsmouth are heading for the worst start by a top-flight team in 26 years. It's no surprise that Paul Hart has spent much of this afternoon looking absolutely furious.
Yeah, they've only got themselves to blame. 2 appallingly poor pieces of defensive mistakes by Ben Haim, Tal Ben Haim. And, I mean, when you look at it, you're thinking, right, what we've got to do is we've got to make life as difficult as we can for the opposition. They clearly haven't today. And Belhadj and Tal Ben Haim have made it a comfortable afternoon for Villa.
Great. Hull against Birmingham was the only Premier League game without a goal. I say was. Damien Johnson.
Yes, the Hull defence has finally been breached. It was coming. It's a goal, a header from Gary O'Connor, the Birmingham second half substitute, right wing corner. O'Connor escapes his marker, and finally, Bo Myhill, who's been brilliant for Hull all afternoon, is beaten. It's Hull City 0, Birmingham 1.
Now, the top 2 are in action at the Riverside. Rob McLean is watching Middlesbrough against West Brom in the Championship.
The crowd was 22,725, considerably less than that now because a lot of the home support have headed homewards. They've seen enough. 3-0 down to West Brom, who currently are threatening to increase that advantage with Roman Bednar getting himself into the penalty box. But 3 is bad enough for Borough. It's been miserable for them so far this afternoon. And as Bednar has another swing at the ball in the box. That effort is blocked. Chris Brunt has scored twice. The second of those sent straight back over the head of keeper Danny Coyne, who was out of his area to clear. Top class finish, that one. Yusuf Malumbu has got himself on the mark as well. And West Brom lead Middlesbrough by 3-0 with 15 minutes left.
It's 409 miles from Plymouth to Newcastle, so are the Plymouth fans being rewarded for making all that effort? Steve Sutton.
Well, not at the moment, Mark. It's Newcastle 2, Plymouth 1, but Plymouth are making them work hard for it. Stephen Taylor gave Newcastle the lead on 6 minutes, a stooping header, and it wasn't until just after the restart of the second half that the Plymouth fans had something to cheer about. 2,000 of them are here, by the way. Carl Duguid equalised, but then just after the hour, Kevin Nolan restored the lead for Newcastle, and that's how it is at the moment. Newcastle 2, Plymouth 1.
The pressure is on Roy Keane at Ipswich. Are his players relieving that a little bit? Alan Biggs.
You join us just as Doncaster Rovers reclaim the lead. They had been pegged back. They've now gone into a 2-1 lead with a long shot from the left. And earlier we saw Jack Colbeck equalising for Ipswich, a timely and much-needed leveller. The last time an Ipswich manager failed to win any of the first 8 games, he lost his job. That was Jackie Milburn back in 1964. 45 years on, this is Ipswich's worst start since. I doubt Roy Keane is under similar pressure yet, but this has been a powder puff performance. Fairhurst got Doncaster's opener. There was an equaliser. Now Doncaster have gone back in front. Martin Wood's the scorer, 2-1.
So no, then basically they aren't relieving the pressure on him whatsoever. Right, it's Cardiff against QPR as well today. Here's Gareth Williams.
Thanks, Mark. Cardiff City 0, Queen's Park Rangers 2. 2 Jay Simpson goals in the first half was no more than QPR deserved at the break. It could be worse for the Bluebirds in the second half. From a QPR corner, Cardiff managed to clear in the 6-yard box, and then moments later, Queen's Park Rangers winger Rowan Vine hit the far post after a decent shot. We don't think Flavio Briatore's here. I bet he wish he was, as though it's Cardiff City 0, Queen's Park Rangers 2.
Watford were 2-0 down to Leicester at Vicarage Road. They got it back to 2-2. Who has got the 5th goal? Tony Colliver.
It's gone to the home side. It's Watford 3, Leicester City 2, and that man Heider Helgason has just got the seemingly the winner as we're heading into the last stages of this game. Entertaining game here. Leicester bossed the first half, deservedly led thanks to a brace from top scorer Matty Fryatt, but Watford have been a transformed side in the second half. Drew level after 2 goals from inside the 6-yard box. The first from Danny Graham, another from Heider Helgason on his 200th Watford appearance, and then that late possible winner from him as well. It's Watford 3, Leicester 2.
Not a bad way to announce your return to the club. Right, Mark Bishop is at Deepdale for Preston against Coventry.
Preston North End 3, Coventry City 1, Mark. A game of high drama indeed. No one would have predicted the capitulation of Coventry after they dominated the first half, leading through a sensational 30-yard free kick from Sammy Kling and cure Preston revival. A brace from Chris Brown, another from Neil Mellor, and it's left Preston unrecognisable from the side who were simply dire in the first 45 minutes. Preston North End 3, Coventry City 1.
It's Bristol City against Scunthorpe at Ashton Gate. Here's Hamish Marshall.
Bristol City lead by a 1-0. There was nothing between these sides in the first half, but a first goal for the club from Costa Rican Alvaro Saborio has City on course to maintain their 100% home record. Josh Wright, Martin Wolford and Paul Hayes have had the Irons' best chances, but so far this season they've lost every time they've conceded first, and they've got just 13 minutes left to change that.
Two sides who've struggled in the Championship so far this season for David Garrido to cast his eyes over. It's Peterborough against Reading.
And it's Peterborough 2, Reading 2. The Visitors dominating the first half. Gylfi Sigurdsson's superb curling free kick. And then from another set piece, his ball in, glanced home by Simon Church. Game over, not for Peterborough boss Darren Ferguson, whose half-time team talk must have had some sort of effect. First, Craig McHale-Smith headed in from close range to make it 2-1. And then Aaron McLean's blistering shot, and they were level. Reading keeper Adam Federici has also had to make acrobatic saves. Still McHale Smith twice and Lee Frecklington. One more goal for Posh and they'll avoid a new club record of going winless for the first 8 games of a league season. 2 apiece here.
Billy Painter is Swindon's top scorer. His 4th of the season has got Swindon's equaliser at Walsall. There's been a goal as well at the Keepmoat. Alan Biggs.
It's now Doncaster Rovers 2, Ipswich Town 2. Ipswich getting a second equaliser and a second substitute, getting Roy Keane out of a widening hole here. It was Grant Ledbetter with a free kick from the left, And Thomas Priscan, recently on from the bench, rose with a header to pull Keane back from the brink of another defeat here. But they're still not winning. It's the 8th game, and it's Doncaster 2, Ipswich 2.
Will be their first away point of this season, though. Right, let's find out if Neil Warnock's a happier man than this time last week. Crystal Palace at home to Derby. Here's Andy May.
He certainly doesn't look like it down on the touchline, but I'm sure he is. Palace lead 1-0. Darren Ambrose slotted home from close range after connecting with the ball over the top of the Derby defence. The home side should perhaps be down to 10 men, though. Keeper Speroni blatantly picked up the ball outside his box in the first half and only got a yellow card. Shortly after, the Argentine denied Livermore with a great near-post save. Ertel has just hit the bar for Palace, who are 1-up.
Busy boy, he's got to manage Manchester City tomorrow, and he's just equalised for Barnet this afternoon. Mark Hughes, it's Barnet 2, Bradford 2. Goal at Ellen Road, Tony Lockwood.
A goal for Leeds, it's game over. It comes from Jermaine Beckford, United in the comfort zone. Too strong for the Gills. Bradley Johnson with the opener, rising unchallenged to head home a corner. Johnson with the second. Skipper Jonathan Howson struck a terrific third. Signs of a Gillingham comeback when Andy Barcham found the top corner. But Beckford has made it 4-1, and that is that for Gillingham. Leeds march on, 4-1 up.
I think Rob McClay said there are only about 12 Middlesbrough fans left at the Riverside. There could be fewer now, I would imagine. Rob?
Don't exaggerate, I don't think it reaches double figures now. Middlesbrough's misery is complete, or at least they'll hope that's the case with 8 minutes to go, because they are currently 4-0 down at home. Roman Bednar firing in the fourth. Chris Brunt had a chance to complete his hat-trick from 15 yards. It's 4-0. It might just have been 5 or 6. Who would have thought this match could have been so one-sided? And West Brom about to stretch their unbeaten start to the season into double figures. 4-0 now.
Another goal at Doncaster. Is this the break Roy Keane and Ipswich have been looking for? Alan Biggs.
It could be. It's Doncaster Rovers 2, Ipswich Town 3. Roy Keane's side twice behind, now in front after a flurry of goals late in this game. Tommy Smith has just rattled the Doncaster bar, and from the rebound, Alex Bruce, the skipper, got the final touch from close range to give Ipswich sight of what would be their first win, as you say, of the season. They lead 3-2.
Bottom against top in League Two, and there's been a goal for Harry Gratian to tell us about.
Yes, an extremely good goal for Brett Pittman. It's his second goal, his 5th in 5 games now from the penalty spot, cruising for Bournemouth. They lead 2-0.
Another goal at St James's Park. This is Newcastle against Plymouth. Who's it gone to, Steve Sutton?
Well, it's Newcastle 3, Plymouth 1 now, Mark. I think Newcastle's 100% home record safely intact. Andy Carroll with the goal. Plymouth failed to clear. Carroll gathered up the ball on the edge of the box, sidestepped his defender into the box and lashed it into the far corner of the net. Newcastle 3, Plymouth 1.
Andrew James is at the Reebok. Any sign of Bolton getting back into this against Stoke?
None at all, Mark. Bolton 0, Stoke 1, still the score. On the far side of the Reebok, from me, it says the Nat Lofthouse stand, and Stanley Matthews was playing back in 1963 when Stoke last won away at Bolton in the top flight. I wonder what those two greats of football would have made of this appalling game, really. It has been dreadful. But credit to Stoke, they've got their acting gear at least to actually get the goal from Kitson to seemingly win the game. Bolton, though, look to be in all sorts of trouble. Bolton 0, Stoke 1.
We've got 5 games here that you could be watching, but Garth, you're intently watching Bolton against Stoke.
What gave you that idea? After that introduction by Andrew James, I'm watching anything other. No, actual fact, Bolton are desperately trying to get back on level terms, and Stoke are having none of it. Sorry. It's been a very resilient performance by Stoke, what you'd expect to some extent. Whatever you might say about the way Pulis plays his football, his style of football, it's very effective.
It's a man's game, isn't it? Bolton against Stoke. Right, Hull against Birmingham. Damien Johnson's at the KC.
5 minutes remaining here. Birmingham still lead by a goal to nil. Gary Connor's second half header. Hull sitting very close to an equaliser a moment ago. Giovanni free in the box, spun on the ball, but he screwed his shot wide. Hull desperate for an equaliser. Gilas has added a bit of pace and a bit more enthusiasm in the second half as a substitute for Hull. But it's Birmingham who lead.
Steve, Phil Brown said on Football Focus this lunchtime that he wouldn't really want to look at the league table and 10 games in, but this will be a big defeat for Hull if they lose this.
Absolutely. This will psychologically will be a major blow. Not just that, the way they've played as well. They've been second best all afternoon. And you know, with all due respect to Birmingham, it's one of the clubs that if you're going to have any intentions of staying in this league, and that's, you know, after the way that Hull finished last season, that would be their first brief, then you've got to get something. And to be beaten by Birmingham sends out all the wrong signals at this stage.
Huddersfield have pulled one back against Millwall. Jordan Rhodes with that 5 minutes from time. Millwall, though, still lead Lee Clark's side 3-1. Third against fourth in the SPL. Ian Turner's watching Dundee United Motherwell.
Fourth in front at the moment because it's Dundee United 0, Motherwell 1. Motherwell have their noses in front in a very tight game thanks to a well-placed penalty from Ross Forbes after Sean Dillon tripped to tricky Jim O'Brien. United would have been level but for a superb triple save from John Ruddy denying Dodds, Cadamarteri and Webster in the space of just 6 seconds. 2 minutes to go. United 0, Motherwell 1.
Oxford set to go 8 clear in the Blue Square Premier. They're 4-0 up on Eastbourne Borough. Back to the SPL. It's all over, isn't it, really, at Easter Road, Brian McLaughlin?
Well, we're 3 minutes into stoppage time here at the end of the match, and Hibs lead by 3-0. A double from Anthony Stokes, his first goals for the club, and a sublime finish from Derek Ryan, giving the home side a comfortable lead. The scoreline harsh on Saints, who had much better chances early on. Hardy hit the crossbar. Murray Davidson missed an easy header. We're into stoppage time. It's Hibs 3, St Johnstone 0.
Let's go back to the Reebok. There's been a penalty there. Is this Bolton's chance to get back in it, Andrew James?
Well, it certainly is the best chance that they've had all game. The foul was on Sam Ricketts, right on the edge of the box. Mark Clattenburg was right on the spot to see it. And the kick is going to be taken by Matthew Taylor. Steps up and scores, sends Sorensen the wrong way. So Bolton, right at the death, get an equalising goal that perhaps their performance didn't really deserve. They fought hard, as Garth said, in this second half, but it's been disjointed. Now they've got the lucky break, a penalty, deservedly so, and Matty Taylor has got the equalising goal. Bolton 1, Stoke 1.
It's Bolton 1 then, Stoke 1. Don't get too excited, Bolton fans. Was that a penalty, Les?
No, it certainly was. He's nipped the ball past the defender and he stuck a foot out just on the edge of the box and caught him knee high. No question about it being a penalty. Definite penalty. And Matt Taylor steps up and he's pretty reliable from the spot. And probably, you know, 1-1's a fair result when you look at this fixture.
Late equaliser for Cheltenham against Rotherham. That's 1-1 now. Julian Alsop with that. Another goal at Doncaster. Alan Biggs.
Well, what a roller coaster for Roy Keane. His side now tied level at 3 goals apiece. And despite everything, he's still sitting down in the dugout where he's remained for most of this game, looking on impassively. Quinton Fortune with a terrific 25-yard dip for Doncaster, a dipping shot as well into the top corner, has made it Doncaster 3, Ipswich 3, but Ipswich coming close to what might have been another goal to put them ahead. This isn't finished yet, 3-3.
One of Roy Keane's former Manchester United teammates is being put through the ringer this afternoon as well. David Garrido is at London Road and can tell us about it.
Absolutely, the turnaround here is complete. Having been 2 goals down, Peterborough now lead Reading by 3-2. They've been on top for vast majority of this second half, and it was a superb ball in from Russell Martin, a lovely little centre, but it was George Boyd who provided the real touch of class as Reading go close. Boyd with a little back heel in past the goalkeeper, Adam Federici, and Peterborough, having been 2 goals down, they lead here by 3-2.
Hull are desperately searching for an equaliser against Birmingham. Damien Johnson at the KC.
Yeah, they still trail by 1-0, but they're pouring everything into seeking an equaliser. They just hit the bar, an almighty goalmouth scramble. Gilas, the second half substitute, a real live wire. A City look to get an equaliser and get back into this game. It would, as you've implied in the studio, be a hammer blow if they were to lose against one of their rivals for the relegation spots, Birmingham City. But it's Birmingham who lead. We've got 1 minute to go.
Somebody in the final score office this week described Adam Johnson as the Lionel Messi of the Championship. Not today, he isn't. Rob McLean is at the Riverside from Middlesbrough, West Brom.
I did suggest that it couldn't get worse here for Middlesbrough. It just has done. 5-0 West Brom. Jerome Thomas scoring in the 89th minute, and their embarrassment now is almost complete.
Another goal at the Emirates. I'm assuming it's gone to Arsenal. Roger Johnson.
Correct assumption. 4-0, the goal scorer, Cesc Fabregas. The cross from Bentner on the right-hand side. Fabregas ghosting in at the near post. scored from a yard, rounds off a miserable afternoon for Wigan. 4-0 to Arsenal as we go into 3 minutes of added time.
Now, the early game in Scotland today was Kilmarnock against Rangers. Roddy Forsyth was there.
It was, as we say in Scotland, a blood and snotter sort of game. Bad-tempered, hard-fought, difficult for the referee to control. And in the event, Steve Conroy produced red cards for Pedro Mendes of Rangers and Kilmarnock's Manuel Pascali, and cautions for Old, Salmon and Kyle of Killie, plus Rotten, Boyd and Weir of Rangers. Oh, and Walter Smith was sent to the stand after he'd stepped onto the pitch for altercations, first with Salmon and then with Hamill. Needless to say, the quality of play was hardly top drawer. Kilmarnock coming closest twice in the second half with a raking drive from Hamill that slapped off the far post, and when Invincible saw a header blocked by Papach, and although the rebound fell back to the Australian, he smacked it straight over the bar. So Killie put an end to a losing streak while Rangers lost a man and dropped points for the second week in succession.
So Celtic will take advantage of that. If they beat Hearts tomorrow, they'll return to the top of the SPL. Has it calmed down a bit at Doncaster, Alan Biggs?
Absolutely not, Mark. Just seen Billy Sharp waste a chance to put Doncaster back in front. We're 3 apiece here, but we're only in the 88th minute. We're somewhat behind the rest of the country in a different time zone. Certainly must feel like that for Roy Keane down on the bench there. What a roller coaster he's been through in this second half. Up to 65 minutes, it was just 1-0, but Ipswich came back to lead 3-2. Quinton Fortune pegging them back to 3-3, and could be a winning goal at either end still here.
The final whistle has gone at one Premier League game, although he should be happy to pull hard because there's still 96 points to play for in the Premier League this season. Right, a 6th goal has gone in at Vicarage Road. Is it 4-2 or 3-3, Tony Colliver?
A terrific game here. It's Watford 3, Leicester City 3. I thought Watford had won it, but Leicester, to their credit, have done very well indeed. Don't know what Hornets boss Malky Mackay said to his team at half-time. They trailed to a Matty Fryatt brace going into the break. Since then, they've turned the game on its head. Firstly, just after the break, former Middlesbrough forward Danny Graham pulled one back, and then Heider Helgeson got 2 goals. But then that late equaliser, it seems, Danny Ngessan heading in from close range. 3-3 here.
Still playing at the Reebok. Any sign of a winner, Andrew James?
Very nearly won for Stoke City, Mark. Liam Lawrence from a Rory Delap throw. Somehow from a yard, Lawrence failed to put it over the line. Jaskalainen got hurt. We'll have more stoppage time. Still 1-1.
Good save though, wasn't it, from UCI?
It was a long throw, and he had to be brave. Threw himself at the feet of the oncoming striker, and just got the clearance in, and he's got himself hurt. But like we said, he won't be going out this Saturday.
Another full-time whistle has gone, this time in the Championship. Bristol City were 1 up against Scunthorpe. I don't think they are now, are they, Hamish Marshall?
No, they're not, because Scunthorpe have surely got themselves a deserved point deep in stoppage time. Grant McCann, a deflected shot inside the penalty area, went the wrong way from the goalkeeper Adriano Basso. They've played the last 15 minutes with 10 men, Scunthorpe, because Gary Hooper went off injured and then used up all the substitutes, and it looks like they're going to have a point to show for it. 1-1 deep in stoppage time.
Big win at the KC Stadium for Birmingham. They have beaten Hull. With the details, Damien Johnson.
Yes, Hull City 0, Birmingham City 1. Birmingham sub Gary O'Connor's second half header gave the visitors a deserved winner. That it remained a stalemate for so long is a tribute to Hull keeper Bo Myhill, who produced a string of fine saves to deny Birmingham the pick of them, a fingertip effort to keep out Lee Bowyer's long-range shot in the first half. Birmingham were really good value for their win. Christian Benitez was a thorn in Hull's side all afternoon. Hull, who were pretty abject, has to be said, chased an equaliser belatedly. Giovanni screwed a shot wide that hit the bar in an unbelievable goal-mouth scramble late on, but Birmingham held firm and deserved their win, 1-0.
Hull now slip into the bottom 3 of the Premier League. Goal in the Championship is at Preston. Mark Bishop.
It's all over at Deepdale. Preston North End 3, Coventry City 2. Clinton Morrison getting a goal for Coventry in stoppage time. But I tell you what a revival from Preston. Sammy Klingen's 30-yard Roberto Carlos-esque free kick. They put the visitors coasting by half-time, and then came back Preston. 2 great goals from Brown and Mellor made it 2-1. Brown then got a brace, 3-1, and then right at the death, Morrison wrapping one up for Coventry. Good win for Preston. They've won by 3-2.
The league leaders are at Norwich. It's Charlton, but there's been a late goal. Ben Jacobs.
Norwich 2, Charlton 2. Grant Holt with a header in injury time. It looked like a foul on the goalkeeper. It trickled in the bottom right-hand corner. Houlihan got Norwich's other goal. Dion Burton and John Joe Shelby had put Charlton 2-0 up. But as things stand, Leeds are going top of League One. Norwich 2, Charlton 2.
Full time at the Reebok. It would have saved a lot of bruised and battered bodies if they'd both agreed on a point at the start, I suppose. Here's Andrew James.
Yes, it was a points victory in the end, perhaps to Bolton, Mark. A share of the points in football tournaments at 1-1. Matt Taylor's penalty after Sam Ricketts had been fouled by Danny Collins late in normal time, giving Bolton the share of the points. It was a hard-earned share. Their performance really did disappoint the home fans here at the Reebok. Stoke looked to be good value for the lead when Dave Kitson scored his second of the season from Ricardo Fuller's flick on. Liam Lawrence missed a late chance to win the game for Stoke with an injury for Jaskalainen at the same time. But it's finished all square. Bolton 1, Stoke City 1.
Into the Championship at the start of play. These two were the top two sides in that division, but Ron McLean, the gulf between Middlesbrough and West Brom was a little bit wider than that, wasn't it?
Yeah, as wide as the T's, I would reckon. Market finished with booing from the Borough fans for their team. They were battered by the Baggies. Chris Brunt had good fortune with his first goal, a free kick deflected in after 18 minutes. But his second on the half hour was something special. Borough keeper Danny Coyne charged out of his area to clear. Sadly for him, it went straight to Brunt, who guided it first time, left foot straight back over his head into the net. 3-0 Malumba just before half-time, 4-0 Bednar 81 minutes, 5-0 Jerome Thomas on 89. What a scoreline at the Riverside. Middlesbrough 0, West Brom 5.
It's going to be a long old trip home for bottom of the table Plymouth and their fans. They were beaten at Newcastle. Here's Steve Sutton.
Yes, they were. It ended Newcastle 3, Plymouth 1. Stephen Taylor set Newcastle on their way. A 6th-minute header at the far post from a corner. But on 49 minutes, Carl Duguid gave the 2,000 Plymouth fans something to cheer about. He equalised. It wasn't until the 83rd minute that Andy Carroll fired into the bottom corner of the net to make it 2-1 and to make it 3-1 rather. And Carroll almost made it 4-1 right at the death. An overhead shot hitting the crossbar. Newcastle 3, Plymouth 1.
Tony Colliver got one of the games of the day, a 6-goal thriller at Watford.
Indeed, Watford 3, Leicester 3. Terrific game here. Leicester led 2-0 through Matty Fryatt's brace, giving them the lead at the break. Then Watford went 3-2 up. Danny Graham and a brace from substitute Hyder Helgeson. Then total drama late on when Leicester substitute Danny Ngesson headed the deserved equaliser. On the balance of play, a draw was probably just about right. Watford 3, Leicester 3.
And it's finished at Doncaster, Ipswich, and breathe, Alan Biggs.
breathlessly. Doncaster 3, Ipswich 3. For 65 minutes, Wade Fairhurst's early goal for Doncaster was the only score. Then 5 goals in 19 second-half minutes. Sub Jack Colbeck for Ipswich, 1 apiece. Then Doncaster back in front. Martin Woods a cracker. Ipswich level again, another sub. Thomas Priskin. Alex Bruce, I should say, or Lee Martin getting the final touch for Town in front at 3-2. Only for Quinton Fortune to tie it up. Remember, he was with Roy Keane at Old Trafford. It's finished Doncaster 3, Ipswich 3.
They're still going at Selhurst Park, aren't they, Andy May?
Yeah, 1-0 to Palace. We're still playing after a late start and also 5 minutes of stoppage time, and then a nasty bang to the head for Derby's Chris Commons. Ambrose, the only name on the score sheet. It looks like Neil Warnock will have a win. 1-0, they lead against Derby.
Thank you very much. Now, don't forget that you can get all the build-up and all the goals as they go in from 2:30 every Saturday. All you have to do is press the red button. Right, time to get the full classified results now with Tim Gudgin.
First, the Barclays Premier League. Arsenal 4, Wigan Athletic 0. Aston Villa 2, Portsmouth 0. Bolton Wanderers 1, Stoke City 1. Burnley 3, Sunderland 1. Hull City 0, Birmingham City 1. West Ham United and Liverpool have an evening kick-off. In the Coca-Cola Championship, Barnsley 0, Swansea City 0. Bristol City 1, Scunthorpe United 1. Cardiff City 0, Queen's Park Rangers 2. Crystal Palace 1, Derby County 0 is the latest score, still playing. Doncaster Rovers 3, Ipswich Town 3. Middlesbrough 0, West Bromwich Albion 5. Newcastle United 3, Plymouth Argyle 1. Nottingham Forest 0, Blackpool 1. Peterborough United 3, Reading 2. Preston North End 3, Coventry City 2. Watford 3, Leicester City 3. In Coca-Cola League 1, Brentford 1, Bristol Rovers 3. Brighton and Hove Albion 2, Southend United 3. Colchester United 2, Hartlepool United 0. Exeter City 2, Tranmere Rovers 1. Leeds United 4, Gillingham 1. Millwall 3, Huddersfield Town 1. Norwich City 2, Charlton Athletic 2. Oldham Athletic 2, Carlisle United 0. Southampton 2, Yeovil Town 0. Stockport County 2, Leyton Orient 1. Walsall 1, Swindon Town 1. Wycombe Wanderers 0, Milton Keynes Dons 1. In League 2, Barnet 2, Bradford City 2. Burton Albion 0, Dagenham and Redbridge 1. Cheltenham Town 1, Rotherham United 1. Chesterfield 4, Macclesfield Town 1. Crewe Alexandra 1, Aldershot Town 2. Darlington 0, AFC Bournemouth 2. Hereford United 2, Accrington Stanley 0. Lincoln City 0, Shrewsbury Town 2. Morecambe 2, Notts County 1. Northampton Town 1, Rochdale 2. Port Vale 0, Bury 1. Torquay United 0, Grimsby Town 2. In the Blue Square Premier, Barrow 1, Forest Green Rovers 1. Cambridge United 2, Wrexham 0. Chester City 0, Stevenage Borough 1. Crawley Town 2, Kettering Town 1. Ebbsfleet United 2, AFC Wimbledon 2. Grays Athletic 0, Altrincham 3. Hayes and Yedding United 0, Histon 2. Kidderminster Harriers 3, Gateshead 2. Oxford United 4, Eastbourne Borough 0. Rushton and Diamonds 1, Mansfield Town 0. Tamworth 2, Salisbury City 0. In the Clydesdale Scottish Premier League, Aberdeen 1, St Mirren 0. Dundee United 0, Motherwell 1. Hamilton Academical 0, Falkirk 0. Hibernian 3, St Johnstone 0. Kilmarnock 0, Rangers 0. In the Irn-Bru Scottish Division 1, Airdrie United 1, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 1. Partick Thistle 2, Dunfermline Athletic 0. Queen of the South 2, Dundee 0. Wraith Rovers 3, Greenock Morton 0. Ross County 2, Ayr United 1. And Scottish Division 2, Arbroath 0, Peterhead 1. Clyde 1, Brechin City 0. Dumbarton 0, Cowdenbeath 3. Stenhousemuir 1, Alloa Athletic 0. Stirling Albion 3, East Fife 0. And in Scottish Division 3, Albion Rovers 1, Forfar Athletic 1. Elgin City 3, Berwick Rangers 3. Montrose 0, East Stirlingshire 3. Queen's Park 0, Annan Athletic 0. And Stranraer 0, Livingston 3. In the Welsh Premier, Bangor City 0, The New Saints 1. Carmarthen Town 1, Prestatyn Town 2. Gap Connors Quay 1, Haverfordwest County 1. Neath 5, Cassus 3. And Newtown 2, Rhyl 4.
And the one late kick-off, Darren Ambrose, fifth of the season, has given Crystal Palace a 1-0 win over Derby County. Right, let's take a look at what all of that has done to the tables this afternoon. In the Premier League, no change for the top four ahead of tomorrow's derbies, but Aston Villa have now closed the gap. Arsenal remain in hot pursuit after finding their goal-scoring form, while Stoke missed the chance of moving into the top six after conceding that late penalty at Bolton. Still bleak for Portsmouth after their sixth straight defeat, with Everton, Wolves and Blackburn all in action tomorrow. Bolton's late equaliser means they missed the chance to open up some daylight on the rest. Hull dropped back a place into the bottom three. Into the Championship at the top three still comprised of the clubs relegated from the Premier League last season, but it's West Brom who made the greatest statement of intent today. Their 5-0 win at Middlesbrough keeps them a point clear of Newcastle. Borough were the only team in the top five not to win over this weekend. At the bottom, winless Plymouth are in their worst form for 42 years, while Ipswich have made their worst start for 45, despite earning a draw today. None of the bottom 6 won, but Peterborough's first victory of the season moves them up 3 places. Into League One, and Leeds have moved to the top ahead of Charlton, who dropped points at Norwich. Bristol Rovers stay third with that win at Brentford. MK Dons leapfrog Huddersfield, who lost at Millwall. At the bottom, Southampton got their first win of the season, but remain bottom and still in negative points. Tranmere slipped up at Exeter, while Wycombe stay in the bottom 3 after a home defeat to MK Dons. Leyton Orient and Yeovil also lost. Bournemouth's 4th successive win in League Two means they maintain their 2-point advantage over Dagenham and Redbridge. The top 4 remains unchanged, although Rotherham and Barnet both dropped points. Notts County slipped to 8th following a 3rd defeat. At the bottom, winless Darlington are now 5 points adrift of the rest. Macclesfield, Torquay and Northampton also lost, but Hereford's first win for 6 months lifts them 3 places up the table. Morecambe, Grimsby and Bury also want to climb out of the bottom 5. Into the Blue Square Premier, Oxford United are in a league of their own so far this season. Another thumping win keeps them 8 points clear of Stevenage. Tamworth and Cambridge also want to remain in the leading pack. At the bottom, Chester City face a 20-point deficit on next-to-bottom Forest Green Rovers, who drew today. Salisbury City, who have recently been deducted 10 points after going into administration, lost, as did Grays and Gateshead. For the SPL, Rangers stay top after that draw against Kilmarnock. Celtic play Hearts tomorrow and will go top with a win. Hibs moved into 3rd after beating St Johnstone. Bottom place Falkirk earned a point at fellow strugglers Hamilton. They are the tables. Here are this afternoon's headlines from the Premier League. Matthew Taylor's 89th minute penalty ruined Stoke's chances of ending the day in the top 6. They still haven't won at Bolton since 1963. Joy for Birmingham on the road at Hull after Gary O'Connor gets their 2nd win of the campaign, their first at Hull for 38 years. And dropping down a division, West Brom blow Middlesbrough away with a 5-goal blitz to stay top. But Roberto Di Matteo's men remain the only unbeaten side in the Championship. And you can see all of today's Premier League goals at 10:30 tonight on BBC One. Straight after that, Manish and the league team will bring you the rest of the afternoon's goals and address the big talking points. Tomorrow at 10 p.m. on BBC Two, you can see highlights from tomorrow's 4 Premier League matches in Match of the Day 2. Let's talk a bit more about one of the Premier League games today and join Martin Keown at the Emirates. It was Arsenal against Wigan, and Martin, this was a perfect game for Arsenal after the week they've had.
Oh, without doubt, they've totally dominated the game today. Fantastic to watch. It was very important, of course, for their fans. No big signings in the summer, really. The only one, Vermaelen, outstanding today. Lots of question marks after those 2 defeats, and they certainly answered them today. It was superb.
It's from Ajax, and Thomas Vermaelen, Jonathan, gave us the perfect example of total football this afternoon.
Yeah, his first goal was a powerful header coming from the back. I don't think that the Wigan side would be very pleased with the way the central defenders attacked his header, but the second goal was absolutely fantastic. You know, he moved forward from the back, he swapped passes with Abua. I think he was very strong today. You know, he was booed off the field of play against Wigan last year. He went off to a standing ovation today. He swapped passes, and then Vermaelen curled the ball in from 25 yards out. It was a lovely, lovely finish, and a totally dominant Arsenal display. Wigan, I'm afraid, didn't turn up.
I reckon, Martin, any Arsenal centre-half over the past 15 years could have done that, couldn't they?
Well, the way he scored those goals today, you'll see later, that wasn't the performance of a centre-half. That was truly fantastic. I think Van Persie with his left foot would have been happy with that second one. And the first one, he's really dominated in the air. And right from the off, he was really into it today. And it was very powerful force. It was a great signing.
Jonathan, how did Wigan look to you today? Did they try and play football? Did they try and go for it? And was that their downfall, really?
Well, they weren't very positive. They didn't press Arsenal as they might have done from the start. You know, we've seen in recent games when Arsenal are pressed to the back, they can wilt, they can concede 1 or 2 goals in a short space of time. Wigan didn't really ever press them. As I say, Arsenal were very, very strong today throughout the side. They were best throughout. It was just the sort of game they needed after the week. They've had very impressed with Arsenal today, but not with Wigan, I'm afraid.
What do you make of Arsenal, Wigan, Garth?
I concur with the boys. I think they showed they were a class apart. I think Wigan tried first 20 minutes, but really never got to grips with the pass, the move. And clearly, the midweek performance, Champions League performance for Arsenal, has actually, set them, on their way to this victory today.
Right, Portsmouth are still winless, they're still pointless. It's a dreadful start to the season. Let's get the thoughts of their manager Paul Hart on their defeat at Aston Villa today. He's been talking to Simon Brotherton.
Ultimately a disappointing defeat for you again, or how do you feel about the match overall?
Very disappointed in the results and in the manner that we conceded the goals. There were schoolboy errors, shouldn't happen, and we're just getting a foothold in the game and we shoot ourselves in the foot again. Second half I thought we dominated and played extremely well, number of chances, but we should be in it 0-0 at half time, and if it stays 0-0 that's fine, but we cannot continue to shoot ourselves in the foot.
It was a better second half performance from your team though, wasn't it? I mean, you had a lot of the play.
Had a lot of the play, created a few chances, but it means nothing.
I was going to say, is that much consolation to you though as you move forward?
Well, eventually, we'll have to pick the positives out of the game, as well as where we've gone wrong. But we did that last week as well, and scored 2 and let 3 in. So there's obviously concerns defensively.
It can't be straightforward from your point of view, though, can it? At the moment, I was just looking at the team sheet before the game. Only 3 of the starting 11 were actually at the club last season.
Well, it has been a massive turnaround. We've had a massive problems, as everybody knows, and we're dealing with it. And I continue to believe in the players, and I continue to believe that we're going to turn it around.
Individual mistakes are costing them, though, Steve. So how does he turn that around?
I don't know. I don't quite know how you legislate for that, apart from going back on the training ground and drumming it into people that you don't defend in the manner in which they did today. Only then can you keep it tight, and you've got to make life difficult for the opposition. And if you're going to gift them goals like that, life is always going to be tough.
First time a Premier League side has lost their first 6 games. Let's drop down into the Championship. A heck of a game today at the Riverside between Middlesbrough and West Brom. Let's take a look at the goals with Tony Gupper.
Oh, and it's gone in! Chris Brunt opens the scoring for West Brom. Came off the backside of Julio Arca by the looks of it. And the flag stayed down. And it's in! Oh, that is unbelievable! Chris Brunt rubs salt into the wounds. Left footer. What a clever return that is. Inside to Malumbu. Malumbu with the header! 3-0! He fed it out wide to Graham Dorrans, who chipped it back in, and a looping header finds the top corner. Bednar got the shot away, and it's Bednar, and it is 4. Just dropping to Bednar on the edge of the area, and that's his 3rd goal of the season. Here's Thomas. How long does he want? It's 5. He took as long as he needed. Well, it's the first goal that he has scored for West Brom. It's his 6th appearance today. And it gives us a scoreline of Middlesbrough 0, West Brom 5.
An astonishing result, and there were some special goals at the Riverside Day, particularly Chris Brunt's second.
Yeah, we were marvelling at the second goal. You know, just the technique. You know, it's come out to him, the goalkeeper was bouncing up, and like I said, the technique of just he nonchalantly just knocked it back, and it's a great strike and a great finish. And as you said, some great goals there. Disappointing for Middlesbrough because at no stage did they pose a goal threat to West Brom when they were at home.
And you'll be able to see those goals and everything else from the Championship and Football League on BBC One tonight after Match of the Day. Let's very quickly look ahead to tomorrow. Manchester derby first. Steve, big one this time because of how City have gone so far this season.
It is, and City will be up against it, I think, simply because for once they'll lack that little bit of firepower, believe it or not. Possibly four forward players out for them, and I think that might just tip the scales in Man United's favour.
And Chelsea Spurs, Garth?
Well, Chelsea are flying at the moment. Great record, but the records are there to be broken.
Confident about going to Stamford Bridge?
They certainly are. You know, we had a bad week last week, but it's a great week to come and great team to come and bounce back against.
OK, fantastic. Great day tomorrow then. Thank you to Les, thank you to Garth and thank you to Steve, because that's it from us on BBC One, but we're going to have plenty more reaction to today's results and interviews from those involved online and on the red button. So press red to keep watching, but here on BBC One, that's it from us. Join us on the red button. See you next week. Bye-bye.